Nobody likes making mistakes, especially when there's money on the line. These people made mistakes costing thousands and millions of dollars. Let's have a look at top 10 most expensive mistakes in the world. Millennium Bridge. The Millennium Bridge was opened in 2000 and closed almost immediately. It turned out that a large crowd of people made it swell dramatically. The original cost of the bridge was £18.2 million, was increased by another £5 million to carry out the reconstruction and add movement stabilizers. Walkie-talkie. Thanks to its concave shape and glass surface, the London skyscraper walkie-talkie has become nothing but a giant mirror. The sizzling glares were so bright they melted cars parked nearby. To prevent further damage, sun protection was attached to the building. SNCF Railway. In 2014, the SNCF Railway ordered 2,000 trains. They were given measurements for stations designed in the last 30 years, and many platforms were older and a little narrower. They urgently had to be widened, which cost an additional $50 million. Howie Hubler. There have been better times in history to be a stock trader than the early 2000s. But for as bad as the market was, no one fared quite as poorly as Howie Hubler. The Morgan Stanley employees sold insurance on AAA-rated mortgages that ended up having no value and caused a $9 billion trading loss. Alaska. At the end of the 19th century, Alexander II of Russia regarded Alaska only as an ice-covered land. In March 1867, Russia decided to sell the vast territory to the United States for only $7.2 million. Russia won little from this deal but lost natural resources worth of billions of dollars. Alitalia. In 2006, when the airline Alitalia found itself stuck with the bill, when a typo on their website allowed for $39 flights from Toronto to Cyprus instead of $3,900, 2,000 tickets sold before Alitalia could correct the price online. Instead of fighting customers on their mistake, they chose to honor the cheap tickets at a cost of $7 million. James Howell's Bitcoins. Englishman James Howell collected 7,500 in the digital currency in 2009. By 2013, the cost of its bitcoins has increased to $7.5 million. When the guy realized his luck, it turned out he had thrown the hard drive containing the bitcoins into a dump. Mizuho Securities. The Japanese company Mizuho Securities wanted to sell one share for 610,000 Japanese yen on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. It seems a stockbroker hadn't had enough sleep and made a little mistake by putting up for sale 610,000 shares for only 1 Japanese yen each. Despite the company's protest, the stock exchange processed the order, which resulted in the loss of $225 million. Ronald Wayne. Ronald Wayne was one of Apple's founders. He drew the first logo and wrote a manual for Apple I. In 1976, he sold his 10% shareholding for $800, mostly because he had assets that could be withdrawn if the company went bankrupt. He could have been a billionaire by now. Metric mishap. In 1999, NASA lost a $125 million Mars orbiter because of what CNN referred to as a metric mishap. The mistake occurred because Lockheed Martin engineers used English measurements, inches, feet, in their calculation in contrast to NASA's metric calculation centimeters, meters.